Right, so the first step is to actually have research on your person, right? So you should have a central question here at the top. It might be something along the lines of, how did my person affect world history, or how did my person help, their society, or something along those lines. Just something that will guide you towards. What kind of research you're trying to collect, because obviously every person on this list has multiple books written about them. You're not writing a book, you're trying to condense research down. And so I just want you to think of like a main question, why are they famous, or how did they become famous? Why do we remember this person? So create yourself a question that'll kind of serve as a guide for the research you're collecting. And then you'll notice that there are questions here with space provided. There are a total of 20 questions that you should be able to answer about your person. And then there's additional space down here for fun facts. You are required to fill this section here with that information. So, with our research portion, it is really important that we do a couple of things. First of all, we should be very specific in what we are answering. So you'll notice on my example, I actually wrote incomplete sentences. And so I have my central question, how has the person you research affected history in our daily lives? You are more than welcome to copy my question if you'd like to. It's basically asking, how has this person affected our history? And, how do they still, touch what we do today? Um, and then my example is on Catherine of Aragon, who was Queen of England. And you'll notice as you go through here that I actually answered all of my questions in complete sentences. And I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. First of all, it makes it so that I've put everything into my own words and I remember what my answers are for each of these questions. The second reason I did complete sentences is that this will help me further on when I have to, I don't know, write my speech, or I have to write an essay in English. I already have everything written out. And so technically, I can just kind of grab these complete sentences and put them where I need to. And so the more detailed you are, the better. You'll notice as I go through, like, not all of my answers are super, super long. So, for example, this one here, like, why do people study them today? This is two sentences. Whereas at the time of her death, how was she regarded by society? This is one, two, three sentences. There's, one sentence here. Under this one, this is a lot longer. So again, it depends on the question I'm being asked in regards to how long my answer is. And so just really important that you keep in mind that the more specific you are, the better it is for you to, have that information. After I collect all of my information for my research questions in the packet provided, you then have a mind map. A mind map is going to help you get prepared for the poster. You'll notice that there are multiple sections, like the mini biography, family, they're famous for, they change society how, interesting facts. So what I would do is I would go through my research questions and I would pull all of my information and I would write quick notes into each of the categories. But maybe, for example, I don't have enough interesting facts. Or maybe I didn't do enough research on her family life, right? So what I would do is I'd go back and I would find more information as needed in order to fill in the missing spaces. Now, after the research questions, after the mind map, you'll notice that there are other papers in your packet. For example, there's the pictorial input chart, which I'll talk about in a separate video because that's preparation for your poster. And there's also a process grid, which again is preparation for the speech. So those two papers I'd like for you to just kind of hold off on until you get all your research done, because the portion in the back of your packet, it looks like this, rough draft bibliography template. This is incredibly important for you to have. So please go ahead and turn to the back of your packet where these, you should have a space for about 8 different resources. So this bibliography template is for you to keep track of the sources you are using when you are collecting your answers to the research questions. Now, you'll notice in my bibliography template, I collected a couple of different websites. You see the link here, and then there's information. Now, it's really important that as I go through, let's say I answered questions, 1, 2, and 3 from a certain website, I use this link to find this information. So I should find the author, first and last name of the either article or the website, the article title, a publisher or company, and the date it was published. So what I do is I go back over here and I take a look at my website. Now, if I take a look down here, kind of skimming, I don't see really an author's name. This is a nice article though. I got some good information from here. And if I scroll down to the very bottom, normally I can find some information. And this one's super nice. Check this out. Got a citation right here. This is the author, this is the title, and here's my link, and this is when it was written right there, right? So this right here already did it for me, which is great. And you'll find that some websites do that. Some websites actually have the citation ready for you to go, like history.com or anything with a .net normally has some kind of this information, but not all of them do. So you have to kind of get creative. When we look at websites, it's important for us to keep in mind that if there's not actually a listed author, that maybe it's a matter of like there's a company that's in charge of writing this, right? So like uh, this is very much like kind of like more of a blog, and you'll notice that it's much more of a like company rather than a person. So for this one, my author's unknown. I don't really know who wrote it, right? It's an unknown author, and that's okay. You can put unknown, but it is very rare for the article title, the publisher, to be unknown. So you really should have both of these, right? You can't just put unknown for everything. So the article title, I would just look at the top of the page. Here we go: Catherine of Aragon, Henry VIII's most devoted wife and queen? Question mark. This right here, Historic Royal Palaces, this is the main website. This is the company that runs the website. So therefore, that's the publisher of the company. And then sometimes we can't find a date, right? There's not like a date up here that's like, oh, I was published on February 12th or whatever it is, right? So normally if we go to the very bottom, we can check their copyright. Now, this website's been updated. The last time I looked at it, it was 2020, but now it says 2023. So the copyright just lets me know somebody has looked at this and said, yep, this is still accurate. And so the copyright year can also serve as a published date. And then here I have the link as well. So just make sure you're keeping track of your sources as you go. And remember, Google is not a source. Google is a search engine.